What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Solos from Amazon Prime breakdown and ending explained. This show pretty much came out of nowhere for me, and I find that Amazon barely promote their stuff outside of their ecosystem. However, it was a nice surprise and I pretty much smashed all of it out before I watched Eurovision. My girlfriend asked me about it, and I find it best described as Black Mirror with the existential dread turned down a fair bit. It's also similar to Black Mirror in the anthology series, and that we have a similar-ish kind of Black Museum episode where we saw how most of the episodes exist in one world, which happened here, which I'll go into at the end of the video, which was very, very cool. My personal highlight was Anne Hathaway's episode, as well as the final episode with Dan Stevens, who knocked it out of the park. I have not really been a fan of lockdown and virtual episodes of TV shows over the course of the pandemic. I really loved the show Euphoria. The eclectic cast really make that show for me, but the idea of kind of just like one or two people, or even watching an episode over Zoom when I do that in real life, is not really appealing to me. That is, as funny as Mythic Quest was, I really grew tired of their kind of special Zoom episode. But on the surface, Solos does seem like it shouldn't be my cup of tea. However, this show handles the single actor setup and work around COVID protocols very, very well. And each episode is a person coming to terms with their death or life. Each episode is framed, as we found out at the end of the show, as a piece of memory data saved to be uploaded to the cloud, or to be downloaded, or even stolen by memory addicts. We open with Leah, who is desperately trying hard to solve time travel. Her mother sadly has ALS and has to really be cared for by Leah, and is taking a heavy toll on her. She finally works out how to do time travel when talking about the greenhouse effect to her sister. She gets through to herself, who says she's in 2019, except, well, her future self is pretending to be in 2019 and be young, and Leah in the present then tries again, only to reach herself actually in the past, and realizes that she did actually get through to the future. Her future self pleads with her to stop and forces her to reveal she's only been trying to go 5 years to find a cure in the future, as that's how long her mother has left to live, and she just really wants the pain to be over. This interaction with the future emboldens her resolve to go even further ahead in time and actually try to properly find a cure for ALS. However, due to the butterfly effect, this would collapse both the present and future timelines, which she accepts as a chance to save her mother. In episode 2, Anthony Mackie really flexes his acting chops here once more, as he purchases a copy of himself for his family as he's dying. I liked how this powerful copy is actually able to distill his life and even 15 years of his financial work into just a simple algorithm. However, we saw it have to interview him and see how he spoke about his wife to mimic him. It's a superb episode, and while there was no cool time travel twist like Leah's, it was insightful as robots and AI rise in power in real life. But the dud episode for me was episode 3 with Peg, played by Helen Mirren. She's drifting in space, having been chosen with other elderly people to take part in a one-way trip in space to explore, of course chosen due to them being in their twilight years. She's lived her life and initially said she wanted adventure, but then after an incident where a bus driver forgot her, well, she actually wanted to be counted and go on her own terms, which I liked. But it went on far too long, and it is, I think, about the second longest episode after the final episode there, and it dragged on a bit more, especially when other more interesting topics had about 20 or 23 minutes in runtime. Now, episode 4 does really hit home, with Sasha having not left her home in 20 years since a virus struck Earth. I feel like we're going to have topics like this for the rest of damn time now, due to the earth-shattering effect of COVID. It's sort of like post 9/11, where every single thing was to do with 9/11. She was refused to leave her home and sees the outside world as still very dangerous due to civil unrest and other things out there. Obviously, a callback to the riots and protests of Black Lives Matter and many other social issues last year. It turns out that it's actually been saved for a while, with this being referenced in the final episode with Morgan Freeman's character saying that his son died due to the virus. Now, a company locked everyone in their house, but Sasha is the last person to leave and refuses, however, even when her AI says that, well, she refused calls from her best friend and, well, their friend gave up on her and they're going to shut down the support for this house. Well, it's a pretty damn dark ending. And it probably happened in real life with people, even after once all of COVID is done, people will still want to live with these restrictions. Now, in episode 5, we see Jenny, played by the superb Constance Wu of Fresh Off the Boat and Crazy Rich Asians. She's somewhat of a tragic character, clearly disliking her husband and marriage. She's stuck in a waiting room, which, well, she's actually in a coma with her memories being uploaded. And she's kind of been a bit two minds about children, but she did want to have them. And while she was looking after her neighbour's kid, she became drunk and kind of made a scene there. And she can never be that child again. However, she unfortunately did have a miscarriage at a party, and she then became too drunk and embarrassed herself and really got in a car and drove drunk and crashed into a neighbour's kid. Now, during the entire episode, she was sitting in a waiting room for a memory to be uploaded as she's in a coma. She is a memory donor for people who have lost theirs, and in episode 6, which is admittedly the most creative that we've had in all of these episodes, we have a woman go through IVF+. She gives birth to a child in a storm, except he grows at an alarming rate. A side effect of the treatment, and it's implied she needs to kill him to really save herself lest he be dangerous, but she decides to accept him for who he is. And in the finale, we have the whole show, which is neatly wrapped up together. We meet Otto, played by Dan Stevens, and Stuart, played by Morgan Freeman. Stuart has memory problems akin to Alzheimer's, and Otto has arrived under the guise to provide some free healthcare, which Stuart thinks is the NHS. It's nice to see here that the world has universal healthcare in the future, just like the UK. Now, Otto gives some stem cell therapy to help him remember, except Otto drops the line that his memory problems are akin to memory addicts, people who are hooked on reliving others' memories. It turns out that Otto's memories were stolen from him by Stuart many, many years ago. He's stolen thousands and thousands of memories, and he mentions 30 going on 30. The movie Leah talks about, hinting that each of these preceding episodes are memories that he has actually stolen, which makes sense as he introduced each episode, and poor Otto can never remember his mother. There's also references to Ming, the man that Peg loved, and Tom's wife's farts. Now, he did this as his son died due to the virus and went on a tear, not wanting to remember his pain and wanted to live through others. This is probably what happened to the memories of Jenny, as the doctor said that people wouldn't want her memories, but there are some weird people out there, some willing donors. I imagine that, well, Stuart used eternity to keep his memories and other memories, but became addicted and violent, like Otto said. Otto agreed to leave him with one single memory and take the rest after he described Otto's mother to him and leave Stuart to die due to his memory abuse. Now, I really, really loved this show, and I thought that at times it did get a bit long in the tooth. Some of the episodes, like Peg, was a bit boring to me, and the one with the IVF, I wanted more. But overall, it was a really, really interesting show, and they really did make the best of what it can be. If you enjoyed that video, please do drop a like down below. Please do subscribe with notifications on. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.